Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Madam the Ambassador. I'd like to invite Colette Taquet, the Ambassador of Belgium in Singapore, to give us the address for the opening of bridges.
Thank you, Robert. Dames en heren, goedenavond. Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Colette Taquet. I'm freshly arrived from Brussels, and I will be the ambassador of Belgium to Singapore. In fact, this is the first opportunity I have to address some members of the Belgian community and also friends of Belgium here. And I was getting a bit impatient because I arrived 1 month ago, and I have the great chance to be here tonight thanks to the effort of Robert Castes and my predecessor, Andy Detail, who organized the event. The theme of this evening is bridges, so we are going to walk on bridges, small, big, far away, bridges between nations, between land, between people we don't know yet, so we'll see that later. And I think this is really a good theme for tonight because as the pandemic showed us rather painfully, we all need bridges to meet together and also to create new avenues, to think bigger, to have dreams. And in a way, we all suffered from these measures, so we should consider that this opportunity tonight is very precious. So, Belgium, they are rather good bridge builders due to their own organization at home. And so the Embassy of Belgium is really happy to support the event. I would also thank the sponsors who made it possible tonight. This activity, this event, I think Robert, you will say a few words about it, and we will have the pleasure to listen to you. In the second part, you will play live with a violinist by the name of Young Kalin. And so far so good. I wish you a good journey on all those bridges. Before I give you the floor, Robert, I would ask you maybe to close your mobile phone and pager and all devices, and maybe not to use them during the performance. It's only 45 minutes, and there is no interval. So, a good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming here tonight. And let's walk with Robert all those beautiful bridges we are going to discover.
Thank you, Ambassador. So tonight you're going to see 3 short movies, and the common thread is that I'm the composer of the 3 soundtracks. So number one I composed in 2018, and then we played it in concert in 2019. It's called 9 Dragons. I think actually I can remove my mask when I speak. I'm far enough. So the first, number 1, is called 9 Dragons. 9 Dragons is the title of an iconic, extraordinary piece of a hand scroll in Chinese sculpture. I saw this in a museum in London. It's 11 meters long, it's massive. It's called 9 Dragons because it has 9 dragons. The artist's name is Chen Rong. In 1244, he made this. So for many years, he tried the imperial exam when you wanted to function in ancient China. You had to pass this exam, and he failed many times. And finally, at the age of 44, he succeeded. But then he was given a job in the Fujian province, a small province there, and luckily for us, he was a minor official, so he had a lot of time to paint. So in Chinese civilization, the dragon is a symbol, first of all, of the the emperor, the power, and in Taoism is also a symbol of the force of nature. And what is fantastic, you will see, is that these 9 dragons, they all have a different expression in the face. One is jolly, one is mischievous, one is terrifying, one is terrified. And so, and in between the dragons, you see clouds, waves, and then from time to time you see a poem. So these are the successive owners who just added their own poem or added their stamp of the owner, which was then one emperor after the other. So I first composed the music because I saw this, when I saw this hand scroll, I went back to the museum the next day, just to that room, just to see this. I was like struck. So I composed a piece of music. Then at the time, I collaborated with a French. Tonight we will have 3 videographers. So the first one, Cécile Chagnot, French from France. Then she filmed. Then I had 2 versions, and tonight I'll show you the second version in which I transform my own music electroacoustically, and in which Cécile played with the images. I think it should speak by itself, so I won't speak more. And Deepesh tonight is also doing the live streaming. Tonight is being live streamed. Deepesh, we are ready for film number 1, entitled 9 Dragons. That's piece number one. 9 dragons. Now we go to something, this was of course pre-COVID. Now we go to something totally different, that I did first for this because we streamlined Cécile Chagnot, thank you. Without, every time I develop a special relationship with the videographers, and so this first piece was Cécile, who's not there tonight, who is in France. Piece number two film is called Resilience. So last year in Singapore, I don't know if you were already around, it was quite brutal, the circuit breaker. What was nice suddenly is this silence and this quietness in the city, but after a while, no concerts anymore, no projects anymore, the teaching via Zoom, so what do you do? So I At the beginning, I enjoyed it, very good. I read books. Finally I put my library in order, and then the National Arts Council made a total U-turn, and before they do that in Singapore, a total U-turn. Since no projects are possible anymore, they changed all their grounds into online projects. Not very online, but then okay. So I saw a few projects and I thought, that can I can do. So I will do one. I applied, I got a grant. So for resilience, what did I do? I first composed the music, a soundtrack. I gave this to two videographers, Tejas Ewing and Deepesh Vasudev, who is there tonight, greeting, who is taking care of the streamlining. They went in Singapore, everywhere, everything you will see is filmed in Singapore during the circuit breaker. So they had extraordinary scenes of streets that are deserted. I mean, scenes that in Singapore normally you don't see. And then they also have abstract geometrical figures, and then they told me that for them that was the feeling of confinement. Quarantine, you're at home. Well, I don't have to explain to you what that is. And then I hired a number of musicians, dancers, and singers. We gave them the image and the sound, and they were working at home. We couldn't rehearse, we couldn't meet, remember? And so they do their thing, okay. And then they went one by one to the studio. You could only record one person at a time, COVID rules. So then back to the videographers to do editing. So then we had a final product which we showed online in October and November last year. And we got a total of 23,000 of views, which is for contemporary music is unbelievable. I never had that in my life. Then everybody, wow, this is so good, why don't we do this live? And Kailin, the violinist, was one of the musicians, so you will see him on the screen. So then this year, we then showed it in a concert hall, Esplanade, once we were also playing, and that concert also had to be postponed because of COVID. So tonight then, you are going to see, again, every time we play this, we show this is a little bit different because we are interacting and with each other and with the image. So now I will invite Kailin to come to the violin, and I proceed to the piano, and we have piece number 2 is called resilience. As you know, resilience is the capacity to bounce back. And the videography is by Tejas Ewing and Deepesh Vasudev.
Optimist, expressive, extrovert, intense, first chord plays, others layer. Still it continues on and on, on and on. Perché? Sense jarred. Ears pained. Breath held. When will this stop? Si ferma, vero? Water drops on your forehead, down in your throat, on and on. and on perché pleasure, torture. Will you break? Rogomet. Break? Rogomet. Break mad. Break mad. When will this stop? Si ferma, vero? Select. Smile. Fresh. Quest. Réfléchis. Comprends. Accepte. Calme-toi. Concentrati. Aspetta. Slow. Respira.
Cycles, roots ground, tree stands, wind blows, bamboo bends, water falls, rock goes, sand builds, life springs. Time, breathe, slow, suspend, focus, reflect, understand, accept, calm, select, smile, question, rest.
And that was Resilience. Obviously, every time we play that, it's very different. Now comes the premiere. And there is, we call that a world premiere, the third piece, the world premiere. And I'm very proud that my friends and collaborators on this, videographers, Frank Pink, and Johanna allowing us tonight. So that's called Bubbles. Well, it's just silly. At that time, the government here was speaking all the time about bubbles, travel bubbles between countries, and I don't know why I call these bubbles. It's not that I'm trying to describe bubbles. So here again, we had another way of working. I composed the music, and Frank and Johanna were actually already filming independently. It's not that I give them a soundtrack and that's it. And so then we collaborate together. And then actually the idea of tonight, the bridges, I have first discussing with Mr. Natai, that was already November, now we are 21, huh? So it was November 2020 when we started to talk about this and to do something with musicians in Belgium. So you're going to see 4 musicians one Matthias van Kleinenbrugel, he plays the horn and sings. And the poem you're going to hear is by Guido Gezelle. Gezelle is a famous poet in Belgium, 1830, 1899. Hoort de wind, hear the wind. So Matthias chose the poem. Then I have a very rare instrument, it's Fred de Bruin. He plays an arch lute. It's a kind of monster instrument with a lute with a very long, how do you say again? Neck. Thank you, danke. Neck. That's played in Baroque music and in contemporary music, and that's what Fred does. He does Baroque music and very avant-garde contemporary music. Then I have two completely different musicians. Dre Peremans is a trombone, a jazz, and Carlo Willems is a percussionist. So they chose, we send them the music and the images, they chose in which section they would interact with. Then we, of course, via Zoom, we had discussions. And then it so happens that I'm very proud because this is filmed in my city of birth, Tienen. Ik ben een Tienenaar, oorspronkelijk. And so, but you won't, then Frank had a fantastic idea because yeah, then how do you integrate this? I'm not going to give it away, you don't tell the plot of a movie before seeing the movie. So, without further ado, our third piece, the world premiere tonight, Bubbles.
de rustewind. Hoort. Hoort. Het is de wind. 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 Het is de wind die de rustewind. Het is de wind. Het is de wind. Hoort. 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 Het is de wind. Het is de wind. Het is de wind. En zoek de zucht hij om rust. Hoort. Hoort. Het is de wind. 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 En zoek de zucht hij. Zoek de zucht. Zoek de zucht. Rustig. Overal rond en een windje nooit. Of hij de daken van de huizen verstrooit. Of de eieren bedruisen, of met de bomen daarboven de buizen. Of hij de torren in toppen afwaait, of hij de maan de meulen en draait. Of hij de zee in de wolken botsen, of hij de slaat op de zuchtende rotsen. Of hij de zee in de wolken botsen, of hij de slaat op de zuchtende rotsen. Of hij de schepen daar binnen begraaft, of hij er schuilt in het zeewater graaft. Nimmer en vindt hij de wind, nimmer en vindt hij geen rust, en zal geen rust meer vinden. Spielen, scherzen, die von der Brust, scherzen, die von der Brust, in den Seiten locken Hühner, teilt ich mit ein Esel. Diese Weste,
Et voilà. So you have watched the 3 short movies from. I'm a bit emotional now. From Bridges. So 3 very different approaches. You know, COVID, what you do nothing, or you start to do art in a different form. I first would like to thank my artistic collaborators, Cécile Chagnot for 9 Dragons, Deepesh and Tijas for Resilience, and Frank and Johanna for Bubbles. Then, l'argent c'est le nerf de la guerre. And without some institutions, it would also not be possible. I had the National Arts Council of Singapore at various stages of projects. Tonight is really possible thanks to the Embassy of Belgium. So I would like to thank Mr. Detail and current Ambassador Madame Taquet. Merci beaucoup. And Katun Nasi, Kadun could be with us tonight, but he has helped to make tonight possible. And I have the whole team of the embassy, Steven, thank you. Without all the work backstage, it's also not possible. Young Kailin, violin, and all the team from Resilience, the musicians, thank you. Then, too bad we cannot all go and have a drink, or we couldn't do a reception. That's COVID, but it's that these restrictions are nothing. So we just hope that we have. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. I don't think art has to be understood all the time, or the connection. What's the connection with an image and a sound? That it's not important. If we have made you dream, if we have made you mentally and emotionally go somewhere, well, then we have achieved something. So thank you. I felt that you have a very receptive audience. Thank you for coming, and we hope we had a good evening.